So good morning. Welcome back to this second half of the class session for the ELT125 section 1 on October the 15th. October the 15th. So far, I'm sorry. So far we have talked about functions, right, of intonation, and we have covered the attitudinal, right? We have covered the grammatical function. We have covered the focusing or accentual function and the discourse of cohesive function, right? Does anyone remember anything about the first one, about the attitudinal function of intonation? Anything that comes to your mind is good. Anything. Let me double check if we're recording. Yes, we are recording the class.
About attitudinal?
Yes, sir, Bastian.
Personality.
Okay. Personality. What else do you remember from the attitudinal function besides Bastian's contribution? I need to plug my laptop. Okay. So attitudinal has to do with attitude, right? With personality, yes? Has to do with emotions, have to do with, it has to do with feelings, right? And how do you feel about a certain topic? How do you feel about a specific question that someone asks you? For example, if I tell you, do you know the answer to this question? And you say, yes. If you say, yes, or if you say, yes, that would have a different implication, right? Confidence that you know the answer for sure. Insecurity that you're not sure whether the answer that you know is the correct one, or actually challenging and that you are actually defiant that you know the answer. I mean, who is the teacher to doubt that you really know the answer, right? So different attitudes, different emotions that you as a speaker feel about a specific topic is shown through intonation. What about the grammatical function? What do you remember about the grammatical function of intonation?
I remember that intonation helps identify the grammatical structures.
Intonation helps to
identify the grammatical structures.
Exactly, Diego Troncoso, the grammatical structures in a sentence, right? And it goes hand in hand with punctuation, right? So you can identify certain ideas, certain clauses or sentences, and you make the necessary pauses using intonation, right? And therefore, we're able to identify elements in a text, right? Element, like sentences, ideas. And it's quite connected with punctuation, actually. What about the focusing function or accentual function? Is there anything that you remember?
Put more emphasis in one part of the syllable than in others.
Exactly, Bastian. You put more emphasis, right, on one specific element of a sentence. That's right. You put emphasis on one element that you want to highlight, that you want the listener to pay attention to. And that's why you select that specific element of the sentence, that in general, it should be a content word, right? But sometimes, depending on the context, you actually decide that it's a different element like a function word, and that's simply what you're going to make more prominent in a sentence. Like I don't know. I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to Iloca. I'm going to go to Iloca. I'm not going to come from Iloca tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to Iloca. I'm traveling to Iloca with my family. And I'm coming from Iloca. Because we're not in Iloca now, so we're not coming from that place. I'm going to that place. Okay? So I'm going to that place. So in this example, I'm accentuating or making the focus of the sentence, the nucleus, right, of the sentence, the preposition. A preposition, which is usually a function word, a word that is not important, that's only used to give cohesion to whatever I'm saying, because the most important elements are the content words. Yet, if it's important, according to the context, to make it more prominent, I will do it. Okay, so that's sort of the rule that speakers can break, right? You can actually accentuate or make more prominent a function word if it's necessary. Okay, and that's a function of intonation, to make the listener aware of which element is more important, right? It's more relevant. And what do you remember from the discourse function or cohesive function? Is there anything that you remember?
It's like to divide what we say, and to mark if we want to keep talking or we already ended our idea.
Perfect. Well said. I have nothing to say because you you said it all correctly. Excellent. All right. And there's only one function. I mean, there are many functions of intonation. I'm sorry. There are some authors highlight 4 functions of intonation. Others come up with 6. Other authors come up with 8 functions, including, for example, the psychological function of intonation. Psychological function in terms of we're able to group elements when you or when I or whenever everybody speaks, right? We tend to group elements according to the number of words that we can remember. So, for example, if you want to elaborate an idea, if you want to answer a question, probably you're going to be able to link a number of words, and then you're going to have to make a pause. That's all. That's connected with the psychological function, with how the brain arranges the idea and organizes the ideas. And usually you cannot connect more than, for example, 10 words at a time. Okay, don't remember the exact number, but the psychological function of intonation is connected with the number of words that each one of us is able to connect at a time without making a pause. So we're grouping this into intonation groups, right? Tone units, also that would be the name, or intonational phrases, also called right by some authors, IP, intonational phrases. So that's the way we group ideas, and then we have to make pauses. We need to divide. We need to divide them, right? But we're not going to include the psychological function now. But we are going to call this indexical function, which is just like any other pronunciation feature, right? A marker of, and this is what I want you to remember from indexical, because it's a really difficult word. Marker of personal or social identity, all right? The intonation that you can find in mothers, lovers, lawyers, clergymen, newsreaders, etc., etc., right? For example, if you want to imitate someone from the church, right? I heard someone like a comedian saying, queridos hermanos, estamos reunidos en este lugar para consagrar. So that's not going to be the same way that a lawyer is going to sound, right? A lawyer is going to say, mi defendido no es culpable, mi defendido es inocente. Y aquí, estas son las pruebas que yo les voy a brindar para convencer al juez y convencer al jurado de que mi defendido no estaba presente en el lugar en el que se cometió el crimen. That sounds quite different, right? From a priest. A priest sounds different from a lawyer. And a priest, yes, sir?
I have a question about this. For example, a hip hop singer, it doesn't sound that like the same of a lawyer, for example. But my question is, a hip hop singer speak a good English, or because they short very words, or is correct? It's only fast. For you, they speak well, or they broke some rules?
Okay, first I'm going to answer the question that you are asking, connected with what we're dealing now, the indexical function. Okay, and then I'm going to answer the question connected with the good or bad quality of the English. All right. So, hip hop singer or a rap singer is a perfect example for this function of intonation, because hip hop singer or a rap singer, they have they follow a specific rhythmical pattern to rhyme words, right? And you can easily identify a rap singer or a hip hop singer from a rock singer, from a pop singer, and from any other musicians, right? Or any other type of singers, or any other profession, right? Like a priest, a lawyer, a newspaper reader, or a newscast anchor, like the one reading the news on television. So the indexical function also applies to hip hop singers, right? Because they have a specific way they sound. They have a specific way to, in terms of intonation. So, and specifically, they use the device, or it's not the device, they use this skill in which they have to rhyme words that comes permanently whenever they sing. I mean, if you want to be a hip hop singer, you have to rhyme, right, your statements or sentences. Now, in terms of good or bad quality, that's not something that we're going to be evaluating now. There are two ways to answer the question. One way in which this it's a perspective of the language in which you need to sound conventional, you need to sound standard, or you need to sound formal. And according to that perspective, they have an English which can be understood by only some members of society, not by everyone. So if you listen to the songs, probably you're going to have difficulty understanding what they're trying to say. Now, there's a different perspective, which is not the perspective that tells you the correct way in which you have to speak, correct quotation mark. The perspective is that every person has the right to use the language in the way that they want. So, for instance, if you hear someone on the news being interviewed, a Chilean passerby, someone who just is in the street and is being interviewed, the person is going to talk in the Chilean way that he or she pleases. The person interviewing him or her is not going to correct the interviewee. Is not going to say, señora, no se dice así. Señor, usted está pronunciando mal. Because they are using Spanish the way that they want to, the way that they are able to, according to the type of education, according to the level of exposure to formal Spanish, etc., etc., right? So this perspective does not evaluate if the English of the hip hop singer is right or wrong, if it's correct or incorrect, if it's the right way or the wrong way to use English. It's just another way to express in a language which is shared by many members of a specific group. In this case, a specific musical group or social group, if you want. So if the English that hip hoppers use in their song is if it's good or bad, I mean it's good English, but the thing is, I think you need to pay attention to if the words that they are using may be words that might be offensive, right? Offensive to any social group, like any gender or any race or any religion. I think that's more important in terms of how to evaluate the words, right, or the statements that you find in a song written by a hip hop singer. But if the quality of English is good or bad, it depends on the standard. It depends on the rule that you are applying to measure the language. But I would say I would not say if it's a good English or bad English. I would say that it corresponds to the type of songs that they sing, because they are usually connected with social injustices. They're usually connected with fighting against the system, or expressing their rage or anger about in general, I would say social injustices, right? I've heard some songs, I've read the lyrics, and I think in general, those are the main topics. And of course, there are others, but so I wouldn't say that that's bad English, right? Just belong to a specific group. All right?
Thank you, Deisha.
No problem. Good question, very good question. So a lexical function can be applied to hip hop singers, right? It could be applied to any member of a group. So a news anchor in a TV program in Spanish would sound like buenas tardes, bienvenidos a este nuevo programa, programa de noticias en que vamos a informarnos de la actualidad nacional. Vamos a Beirut. 5 terroristas fueron encontrados. So this, it's the news anchor on a TV program is going to be factual information. It's going to provide facts, right? It's going to provide information that's supposed to be objective. Quotation marks, supposed to be objective. The priest probably is going to try to convince us about a specific type of religion, right? Or it could be like a moral guide. So he's going to talk about ethical behavior, good behavior. And the lawyer is also going to try to persuade or convince, right, someone, a judge or the member of the jury, that the person who's being accused is either guilty or non-guilty, right? That's the point. Convincing people if the person is guilty or non-guilty. Okay, and it's you can easily tell which one is who is the news anchor, who's the priest, and who's the lawyer, who's the doctor, who's the teacher, who's the nurse, who is speaking like a mother to a child. Okay. Let's take a look at some following intonation examples. Okay. This time I need the help of Camila. You have not solved your issue with the microphone, have you? Have you fixed your microphone, Camila? Not yet. So I'm going to ask Marieta. Okay, Marieta. Pia, is your microphone working? Because I know Marieta's is.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, perfect, Marieta. Thank you so much. And Pia, is your microphone working? Pia. No? Okay. So.
Yes.
Yes, excellent. Okay, so I want you to take turns, Pia and Marieta, all right? Marieta, you read one, and then Pia, and then Marieta, and then Pia, and then Marieta, and then Pia, all right?
Okay.
All right. Off you go.
Nice to meet you.
I will be back in a minute.
She doesn't live here anymore.
Dad want to change his car.
Here is the weather forecast.
Cloudy weather is expecting at the end of the week.
We should work together more often.
I'm going to walk for a walk in a park.
Excellent. Congratulations. So all of you used the following intonation. Good job. Good job. So following intonation, commonly found in statements. When you say something like, nice to meet you. I'll be back in a minute. Those are statements, right? Commands, like sit down, or stay here until you finish your meal. That's a command, right? You cannot like use a rising intonation. It must be a falling intonation if you want to be taken seriously, right? If not, no one is going to pay attention to what you're saying. WH questions, right? Where are you from? Where are you from? What's your name? What's your name? Falling intonation, right? Confirmatory question tags and exclamations are some of the exercises that we're going to be reviewing in the following exercises. So I'm going to ask Diego Troncoso and Gaspar Aravena, to take turns. So Diego and then Gaspar. Diego, Gaspar, all right?
All right.
No problem, teacher.
Excellent.
Write your name here.
Show me what you've written.
Leave it on the desk.
Take that picture down.
Throw that out.
Put your books on the table.
Take your hands out of your pockets.
All right, good job, excellent. Commands, right? Commands. Leave it on the desk. Take the picture down. Excellent, you did wonderful because you sounded very sure about yourself, right? You really meant it. Like, throw that out. Okay, good, excellent. All right, I'm going to ask someone's help again. This time, I would like to ask Natalia Correa and Nicolas Duran to take turns, right? One, Natalia, and then Nicolas, and then Natalia, and then Nicolas, all right? Here we go.
What country do you from? Do you come from? Nicolas, right now?
Yes, Nicolas. Nico. Nicolás.
Wake up.
Yeah.
I
Nicolás.
can do.
Thank you. Go on. Thank you so much.
Where do you work? Which of them do you prefer? When does the shop open? How many books have you bought? Which coat is yours? Whose bag is this?
All right, all right. Remember always to keep your voice down. So you start from maybe a higher pitch, and then you end up in a falling intonation. So, what country do you come
Okay.
from? Yes. Can you read again, please?
What country do you come from? Where do you
What
work?
country? Sorry, just a pause. What country do you come from? What country do you come from? What country
What
do you come
country
from?
do you come from?
Yes, what country do you come from? But what country do you come from? Do you come from? From. Come from. Follow intonation.
Okay. Again?
Yeah, whatever you want from the beginning or any question.
And what country do you come from? Where do you work? Which of them do you prefer?
Pause. Which one of them do you prefer? Which one of them do you prefer? Which one of them do you
Okay.
prefer? Yes. So follow intonation,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
When does the shop open? How many books have you bought? Which coat is yours? Whose bag is this?
Okay, so pay attention to the first one and the second one, right? How much does the shop open? Sorry, sorry, I made a mistake. When does the shop open? When does the shop open? How many books have you bought? How many books have you bought? Which coat is yours? Which coat is yours? Whose bag is this? Whose bag is this? So the second one has sort of a fallen intonation. So open, bought, yours, this. So I'm not saying that you cannot say whose bag is this. You can say that, but in general, you are expected, or a speaker is expected to use a falling intonation whenever the person or speaker is using a WH question. So whose bag is this? Which coat is yours? How many books have you bought? Maybe you can use your hand, because it's always good to connect what you're saying, what you're thinking, with something else, like the movement of a hand, or I don't know, the movement of your head, right? So try to do something in the last word. Which of them do you prefer? Do you prefer? When does the shop open? How many books have you bought? Which coat is yours? I don't know if I'm explaining myself. Try to use something like moving your hand, moving a pencil, moving your head down. So down is what I would like you to do at the end of the WH question. Would you like to try one? Just to try?
Again?
Yes, just one. Pretty please.
Where do you work?
Okay, much better. Yes. Where do you work? Where do you work? Exactly. Where do you work?
Okay.
Good job. Good job. It's
Thank you.
difficult. Yeah, no problem. Thank
Yes,
you.
difficult.
It is.
Tough.
Yeah, it is. It's trying to adapt to a system that it's forcing you to adopt a specific type of intonation that you may not feel okay with, right? Thank you very much for your patience, right? I would like to ask Sebastián Camaño and Nicolas Duran again, okay? I really would like to know if Nicolas is there. I would pay a pence or a penny. I would pay to know if Nicolas is right there. Okay, Sebastián Camaño and Nicolas Duran, take turns with the next one, please. So, Sebastián, Nicolas.
He thinks she's so clever, doesn't she? He.
Good.
She's such a nuisance, isn't she?
I failed the test because I didn't revise. Did I?
It doesn't seem to bother him much, does it?
Excellent, wonderful. These are really, really complex tag questions, right? Tag questions. And the point is that not all tag questions are really questions. When you are using a tag question, and by a tag question, I mean this section, right? Doesn't he? Isn't he? Did I? Does it? Those are called tag questions, okay? Tag questions. And not all of them are really questions. He thinks he's so clever, doesn't he? Doesn't he? Right? Doesn't he? He says some of them merely ask for confirmation or invite agreement. But in general, when you say he thinks he's so clever, doesn't he? You're actually expressing what you feel, and you don't want to get the answer, maybe, doesn't he? I mean, I know he thinks he's so clever, right? And I'm not expecting you to confirm what I think, right? She's such a nuisance. A nuisance is how would you say this in Spanish? How would you say he's such a pain in the neck. He's so arrogant. She is so selfish. I don't like her. Okay, she's such a nuisance. That's the idea that you.
Selfish. The meaning is egoísta.
Yes, exactly. So nuisance is someone that you really don't like. Okay, nuisance is something or someone that you really don't feel comfortable with. All right. So she's such a nuisance, isn't she? Isn't she? You don't want the other person to tell you, right? Necessarily that he or she agrees with you, because you are actually stating this. And it's not really a question. I failed the test because I didn't revise, didn't I? It doesn't seem to bother him much, does it? So follow intonation. Basically, you could ask for confirmation from the other speaker, but you're not actually asking the other person's opinion. It changes if you use a rising intonation for the question tag. Or for the tag question, sorry. So he thinks he's so clever, doesn't he? Doesn't he? She is such a nuisance, isn't she? A rising intonation would express that you're not sure or that you want the confirmation of someone else to actually decide whether she is a nuisance or not, or whether he is clever or not. Okay. So for a following intonation in this type of question tags, you're not expecting the other person to answer, really. So it's not really a question, okay? It's like emphasizing your opinion, emphasizing that you think it's so clever, emphasizing that you think that she's such a nuisance, all right? So that's the idea with this following intonation in question tags. Okay, so we have another exercise in which we have a rising intonation present here, rising intonation, and I would like to invite Bastian and Bastian and Ignacio, to take turns with this one, please. Rising intonation, guys. Rising.
Do you like your new teacher?
Have you finished already?
May I borrow your dictionary?
Do you have any magazines?
Do you sell stamps?
Excellent. Good job, guys. Very, very well done. Do you like your new teacher? Have you finished already? May I borrow your dictionary? Excellent. Very, very well read. Excellent. So here you expect an answer from the other speaker, right? Guys, can you, the same, can you work with the next one, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
We met already, haven't we?
You like fish, don't you?
You're a new student, aren't you?
The view is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Again, excellent. Very well done, guys. Very well done. You're doing quite well with the rising intonation pattern. Rising intonation pattern suits you. Very, very well done, right? And rising intonation in these question tags imply that you're uncertain, that you really want an answer, right? That you really want a confirmation from the other speaker. We've met already, haven't we? Haven't we? I'm not sure. Could you please confirm my perception? You like fish, don't you? Don't you? I'm not sure. Please let me know, because I'm cooking now and I really want to know if I'm going to cook fish for lunch. You like fish, don't you? Okay. So more examples for, now this is rise and fall intonation. Rise, fall. The intonation rises and then falls. We use rise, fall intonation for choices, lists, unfinished thoughts, or conditional sentences. Okay. Any volunteer? Anyone that would like to try?
I want.
Excellent. Go for it, please.
Now? Ah, okay.
Any moment you want, yes.
Are you having soup or salad? Is John leaving on Thursday or Friday? Does he speak German or French? Is your name Ava or Eva? I don't know.
Excellent. Very, very well done. Very, very, yes, yes. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Clear and exact. I having soup or salad. Is John leaving on Thursday? Yeah, excellent. Very, very well done. Very well done. So rise in the first element and fall intonation in the second element, right? Because you're ending, right, your question. So you need to show the other speaker that you're done, and that he or she can say his answer, right? Is John leaving on Thursday or Friday? Answer me, please. Okay, so that's the idea. I think this is going to be the last one, the last section. So any volunteer to take a look at this? This is a list, right? The first one was choices. You're offering two choices, right? Soup or salad, Thursday or Friday, German or French, Ava or Eva. So here we used rise and fall intonation. But now we're talking about lists, right? Rising, 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 falling. So we always use rising intonation whenever we're listing, when we're naming each one of the elements, until the last one, in which we are using a falling intonation. Anyone would like to volunteer? And this being the last slide, the last content to be covered today. I need to play some music while we're waiting for someone to volunteer, right? Like elevator music. Elevator. Yeah, elevator music.
I can do it, teacher.
Diego Troncoso, excellent. Go for it.
We bought apples, pears, bananas, and oranges. The sweater comes in blue, white, pink, and black. I like football, tennis, basketball, and volleyball. I bought a t-shirt, a skirt, and a handbag.
Excellent. All right. All right. All right. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Very good. Very well done. So remember, when you're listing, guys, we've got apples, pears, bananas, and oranges. The sweater comes in blue, white, pink, and we can keep adding on and on, right? White, pink, green, brown, I don't know, red, and black. Okay, I like football, tennis, basketball, and volleyball. And I bought a t-shirt, a skirt, and a handbag. So that's sort of a general rule that I guess we can transfer from even Spanish when you are listing what we say in Spanish, enumerando, right? When we're listing, the last element in this list of elements should have a different intonation to tell the listener that you are done listing, right? And all of the elements should have the same intonation because they have the same status, the same, they are at the same level. All of them are choices or elements of the list. Apples, pears, bananas, pineapples, kiwis, and oranges, and oranges, and oranges. Only the last element is going to have a different intonation, which in this case is going to be a falling intonation. The last one, right? The rest, rising, rising, rising. Okay, so that's going to be the end for today. We're going to let's take a look very quickly. We talked about functions of intonation, right? Some of the functions mentioned, right, have to do with how we express emotion, how we divide the texts, right, when we speak, to help the listener understand which are ideas that are connected with others and which are independent ideas. We talked about how intonation also helps the listener to understand what's the new element or what's the most prominent element in terms of importance, of relevance. Like, please focus on this information, right? Also, we learned that intonation helps when it's the other person, right? And also, we learned that there's an indexical function with the intonation that you acquire or you have if you're part of a trade. If you are a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you are an engineer, if you are a teacher, you usually tend to sound and talk in a specific way. So you are recognized sort of socially or as so you can have this marker, that's the word marker, right? Of personal identity or social identity, or that you belong to a group. And we were reviewing some cases in which falling intonation is necessary, like statements, right, and commands, falling intonation, right? Like WH questions and question tags in which you don't need the answer or confirmation from the other speaker, right? Explanations also are the ones that require a falling intonation. And rising intonation, we were considering yes or no questions, right? have a rising intonation in the end. Question tags that you really are using them because you require an answer from the speaker, right? Because you're not sure about the answer. And rise and fall intonation when you're offering choices is this one or the other, is then number 1 or number 2. And when you're listing elements, all of the elements have a rising intonation except the last one, which has a falling one. Okay, so that's sort of a summary for today's lesson. I hope it was clear for you. And if not, let me know if you have any comment or questions now, or you can send them through an email.
Okay, teacher.
Alrighty. Is this your last class? Do you have another class during the day?
In the afternoon. Yes.
The afternoon. All right. Afternoon. That's your last
Almost,
class.
almost in the night because it's in the 6 p.m.
Oh
Yes.
gosh. Oh
Like in the
no.
evening.
What if you're... Say what?
No. Nothing.
What an awful time. I'm sorry, you guys. Everyone's usually so tired at 6. Yeah. Okay. I mean, what can you do about that, right? All right. What can you do about that? All right. You guys, you all take care. I'll see you next week. Enjoy your 6 o'clock class.
Yeah. See you next week, teacher. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you, teacher.
Goodbye. See you
Have a
around.
nice
Bye bye,
day.
teacher.
See
You
you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.